I would like to actually ask a question of the principal from Washington. If you could answer the question about the number of students over the last, how many years have you had occasion to receive students from Rocketship?
So I'm currently principal of a middle school, but when I was 2 years principal of Washington Elementary, so for those 2 years.
Okay. Can you tell me a little bit about how many students came from Rocketship? And without disclosing any names, obviously, I'd like to find out a little bit about the student profile. Were they English learners? Did they have any discipline problems? Were they special needs? And did Rocketship notify the district and send a corresponding CUME file in order to assist in that transition? If you could speak to that. Thank you.
In the 2 years that I was there were a number of students who came to us directly from Rocketship, and I can tell you that there was a very disproportionate number of them who had either special needs and or behavior issues. Unfortunately, all of the students I received, the only information I ever received in their file was an enrollment packet. There were no records of any discipline issues, even though the parents told me sometimes that the students had been suspended or what it appeared to be, from what the parents described, like an on-campus suspension where the students were in a segregated room for the day. Some of the students had very extreme behavior problems or were told, parents told me that they were told that their needs would be better met by the neighborhood school. And some of the, interestingly enough, some of those students are now with me at Hoover Middle School, some of the same families, I have them again. But there was, and some of the behaviors were incredibly extreme, including very violent behaviors. And there were absolutely never any records of what had been done. It was really challenging because when we receive a new student at a school, oftentimes what we're looking for is what interventions have been put in place to know where to start, like what has been successful with the student, what maybe hasn't been successful. And it was really challenging not having anything to start with because you're really starting from scratch. And we saw in the composition of the classrooms at Washington, especially in the lower grades in the SEI, which were the English-only classes, our kindergarten class would start very small, one section. The next year there would be the first grade, even though the class was kind of moving up, there would be more students because all of the students that came in from Rocketship would have to go into the English only, not into our bilingual classes. And then the next year there were even more, and by the time it was third grade, it was an overflowing class because of the students that we got in.
Okay. And I'm just going to give you some numbers. 2015-16, 24 students were sent out of Mateo Shiri. 50% came after school started. 17% of them have IEPs. 13% of them were behavior problems. 16-17, 21 students came after the first day of school. 48% of them came after the first day of school. 43% of them have IEPs now. 17-18, 13 students, 46% came after the first day of school. 8% with IEPs, 23% have behavior issues. We didn't
also having served as the interim principal at Mateo Shiri when Principal Fromolds passed away, I strongly reject the idea that we would ever tell any family that they are not welcome, that their child is not welcome, and that we are not capable of serving them. We work day and night, and the educators and leaders behind me, alongside our families, work tirelessly to ensure that we serve every single student who walks through our building.
I met with parents that actually experienced
Claudia,
something else.
let her finish. Let her finish.
We also have diligent notes on our students. We've got robust student service tracking systems to ensure that students who need behavior intervention plans, those are tracked. We've got tons and tons of resources that we provide to our students, from social and emotional learning that you heard one of the Rocketeers talk about, all the way to one-to-one support for our students. So we are happy to sit down and debrief all of those notes with you and stand by our no expulsion since our inception as an organization, and our strong belief that we can and will continue to serve all students.
You
Thank
have not
you.
provided those
Claudia,
diligent notes
Trustee
to the
Rossi,
school district.
Trustee Rossi, we're
So I
moving.
take issue
Trustee
with your
Rossi,
misrepresentation.
Trustee